talk about Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie because they're going through it. They're playing the blame game because Angelina's been out and about. We didn't see her in a long time. She had them ugly ass white shoes on that I seen her with, but she was at the airport. But and then we talked about the other day how Brad has been concerned about Pax, who was in the hospital. He was in the ICU. I don't know if he's still in the hospital. He was removed from the ICU in his own, room in the hospital, or he was taken home and he's resting and he's got a long road to recovery because this boy likes running around on e-bikes without a damn helmet, and he's gotten into numerous accidents. So I was wondering, because I had said it for a while, okay, so what does Brad think of all this? Is he going through it? Is he stressed? Is he worried? All the other stuff. Come to find out, a source did say that, yeah, he is worried, but because of his strained relationship with a lot of his kids, all the ones except the ones he had biologically with Angelina, it seemed like he's fighting with all the adopted children, particularly Pax called him a grade A asshole or something or another on his birthday, on Brad's birthday. So he's going through it with it. And to me, and from this whole situation, it feels like this is a case of a child who is affected by the tumultuous relationship that the parents are having, and it's affecting him. And I've seen that happen many a times in real life. Luckily, I come from a home of my parents are still together after 40 plus years. They're still together. So, but I do know people who are products of divorce, and how, if you're a product of divorce, how that affects you as a kid. And I feel like the parents should have been getting the kids in therapy. First of all, Hannah better get her children, them twins, in some damn therapy. All of them, hopscotch, and she be doing with her relationships. Because I'm sure Max and Emmy are going to be going through it too, just like Pax and the rest of them other kids. So it says Angelina and, well, I'll call them Brangelina. Brangelina, like we had Bennifer. Brangelina are reportedly playing the blame game after son Pax Jolie Pitts, say that 10 times fast, e-bike accident. Feuding exes, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie are locked in a twisted new blame game after their 20-year-old son, Pax Jolie Pitt, was hospitalized with head injuries after a terrifying near-fatal accident, sources are telling Radar Online. Pax narrowly avoided death after crashing his electric bike into the back of a car stopped at a busy intersection on the Los Feliz neighborhood of Los Angeles. The aspiring filmmaker was thrown from the e-bike and suffered a head injury. Sources said he was not wearing a helmet. Now, medics were reportedly concerned he suffered a minor brain bleed in the collision and rushed him to the hospital, where he was said to be in stable condition. But instead of uniting to care for their injured son, the clashing former couple are lashing out each other, and this is according to an insider. So Angelina, 49, is claiming Brad's an absent dad who never set a good example. Although a rep for the 6-year-old Fight Club actor denies Brad is blaming his ex for the nasty crash, our sources said she's been ranting at pals that because the Maleficent star is in much closer contact with Pax, she should have ensured he was properly prepared to hit the highway. An insider said from Brad's perspective, it's absurd for her to try to put any sort of blame on him. She's the one who's there day to day. He's barely around because she's totally shut him out and poisoned the kids against him. Now, didn't I say this? I was like, maybe the reason why that Brad hasn't really been in the picture is because, yeah, they live with her. She's probably bitter. Because we've seen the mean side of Angelina, if you paid attention to her career over the years. And has probably said a lot of negative things. This is why, regardless of how you feel about your man, and he did you dirty, for the sake of the children, you need to set a perfect example where it's like, we don't argue in front of the kids. I forget who I saw that was on television that was saying something like that. You know what? I want to give a shout out to Kyle and Mauricio, because they were like that too, regardless of how we feel of each other. I mean, against each other, even though Mauricio been cheating on her allegedly over the years. Throughout their marriage. This ain't the first situation of them leading up to the separation. He been laying low and spreading wide in that office of his, allegedly, with many women for years. Allegedly. But it's like, I got to keep hitting that alleged. Although I have heard that, allegedly ain't always going to protect you, but I'm just saying it anyway. So, They're like, we have to put up a united front. We don't want to badmouth each other in front of the children. And kudos to parents that are like that, where it's like they're not gonna badmouth each other. But I always feel like, you know, when Angelina do be on her shady bag and doing things. But sir, this is what you get for messing with Miss Aniston and cheating on her by getting with this lady while y'all was still with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. This is what you made this bed. You got to lie in it. And my thing is, as a father, oh, because you know, sometimes I be wondering. I'm like, I be feeling like, you know, some people be acting like men should be in the kid's life, and y'all make a lot of comments about how men aren't in the lives of their children, and when there are men out here who want to make an effort, it's like the women have more rights than the man. And I'm wondering if that stems from, because when it comes to women, you always feel like women are the bearers, the child bearers, they're the breeders, they're the ones who bring children into the world. So they should have more power, because society has always said that women should stay home and cook and clean and be Susie homemaker. And so that way that gives them more power. But now the times have shifted where women are being put in more power positions, particularly in executive stuff. They're surpassing men in regards of like the big jobs. And when men actually want to be in their kids' life, it's like they really don't have as much power as they would like, or as that we had hoped. I was like, why this picture is not. Sometimes, you know, my photo scrollation situation be messing with me, and I be getting mad over that. Let me try something else, and then we'll get to the rest of the story. I was like, yeah, let me get that, see if this picture works this time. Okay, now it's up there. I don't know. Sometimes the pictures on here be acting a fool, but whatever. So it said that he loved to be the Morphopax and all the kids, but she's managed to turn them against him so much he's practically out of the picture. So to suddenly try to scapegoat him when something goes wrong is completely unfair. But according to our tipster, Angelina is equally bitter and believes if Brad had been a more devoted dad, this never would have happened. Since the pair split in 2016, they have been locked in a nasty divorce and custody battle, and now things have taken an even more toxic turn. A source said it's a disaster and the whole family is in a state of shock. It's such a shame that even now these two are finding a way to use this against each other. Anything that goes wrong, they automatically blame each other. Well, I feel like they all shouldn't, and y'all need to really put this kid, regardless of how you feel about shit, I would find a way to reach out. Like, I don't know if I would text her personally, or maybe actually I would. Like, I would take that L and be like, you know what? Let me message her, or have my assistant get in contact with her assistant and use that. Because, you know, in Hollywood terms, y'all can have a mediator come between and be like, you know what? I want to forge a relationship. Because if I truly am about wanting to forge a relationship with somebody, I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm going to go and move heaven and earth so that way I can spend quality time with my child and be like, you know what? Regardless of, I understand you mad at me and you believe whatever you want to believe, but just know that when you're ready, I'm here for you. I just want to come see you. I want to spend time with you. I want to see how you're doing and all this other stuff. Because I know from the stories that I was hearing over the years, they had different styles of which they wanted to raise the children. Brad Pitt, you know, is from the Midwest. He's very much old fashioned in the way he wants to raise. He wants to raise children the traditional way. Angelina being a Hollywood girl, you know, someone who grew up in Hollywood, you know, who her father is, that asshole, John Voight. I don't think he was really in her life either. But from the way she was raised, she has a more unconventional approach. I believe similar to the way Will and Jada raised their children in a very much unconventional way, which, you know, on social media. If you ever read about the Pinkett Smith kids, Willow and Jaden, y'all be going in on how they've been raised and how they're sort of free spirits, whatever. And I do believe in the whole, like, live and let live, let kids figure out who they are in a sort of way. But I do believe that children need structure and discipline. And the way I was raised is sort of like, I'm not going to be as strict as my parents when the day comes if I decide to have children. I'm not going to be as strict as my parents are, like try to shelter them from a lot of things. Because even when I was sheltered, I always found ways to sneak and do stuff. But for the most part, I would raise them as like, yeah, I'm gonna let you kind of just live and let live, let you be your individual person. But I do believe that there should be structures put in place. Common sense would have been like, yeah, if you're going out on that e-bike, scooter, whatever the case is, you should be wearing a helmet. You can't automatically assume like, oh yeah, he's smart enough to put a helmet on his head, so he's gonna go out and do that. Now I remember growing up, back in the 80s and 90s and all this other stuff, when we rode bikes or whatever, what the helmet? None of us wore helmets. Now it seems like the way the world is, everybody got to have pads on, helmets. If I broke my arm, we just went to the hospital, got a cast, and called it a day. And then the people just come with a little marker and get it signed. That was the good thing I loved about wearing a cast. Is the fact that you get people to sign the shit, you get to walk around like it's a badge of honor. And I used to eat rocks and all kinds of other stuff when I was a kid. So it's like, but these days now it's like everybody got an allergy, everybody's allergic to stuff. But when you're in a situation where it's like, yeah, we didn't have e-bikes back then, but even we had motorcycles and scooters and things of that nature. And if you did that, yeah, you wore a helmet. Because that was common sense. Those are more dangerous. But it was like when it came to a bike, it was like we rode the bike. If we flipped off the bike, we didn't die. We got a little concussion and we went to the hospital, had it checked out, or we had like a broken arm or whatever the case was, to call it a day. But in this situation, it was like, yes, sis, you know better. Like if your kids are spending more time with you, you should have been the one that's in the picture and made sure that PAX was doing what needed to be done. Now, in regards to Brad, hopefully he could work things out with his son and the rest of the kids, and I really hope the best for them. And because this is unfortunate, I don't like when there's like this whole family dynamic where it's like the kids don't get along with the parent, that the parent's not in the child's life and all this stuff. So I really hope they work it out. But I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? And do y'all think that they both wrong? Do you think Angelina's wrong? Do you think Brad's wrong? Whatever y'all thoughts are on this team, let me know in the comments down below.